a catchy theme tune, isn't it? It is. How are you, Thomas?
I'm all right, thank you, Charlie. How are you?
Do you know, I'm knackered, right? Because this morning we left at like 9 o'clock in the morning to go to Lapland, UK. And I'll tell you what, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. It was just, honestly, if you got the money and it's even as an adult, it was just sensational. Loved it. Loved every single minute of it. It's like you're there. It was just well worth it. It's in Ascot, if anyone's local, in London or Westra or something like that.
It's in London.
It was wicked, mate. It was wicked, and the kids absolutely loved it. So yes, but I'm back.
You're back.
Otherwise, you would have had to do the show on your own, otherwise, mate. Because Andy's out.
I did think that when you said like, "Oh, I might not be able to make it back," I was thinking, "Okay, cool. I can do the shop on my own, do the show on my own." And then I realised that you and Andy have never given me any power, so therefore I've got no details to log in. So literally, I probably would have to like gone on to Not Quite Vince and be like, "Hi, hi."
You can have all the power. You can have all the power if you want.
Yeah,
you can have all the power,
mate. I have the power in here.
I'll give you the power. But how you been though? Good? All good?
All good, mate. I can't complain. I've had a very busy week at work. It's one of those things where you're taking it home with you a little bit. And then the fire service has been quite busy this week as well. So actually, my sleep pattern is all over the place. So you might get a bit of this, and you might get a bit of this. So we'll see how we get on.
Not sure what that means, but hey ho.
Must be like a bit like overexcited because I'm half dead.
But we got the chat's buzzing already. We got Fuzzy Dunlop. We'll be listening. Hello to everyone. Have a cracking show. We've got what's up, everyone. We've got the Oracle himself. Have a great show, guys. I'm sure we will. We miss you, dude. But obviously, family, work, and everything else takes priority over the Killer Comic Show. Is shocking, really. But yeah, Fuzzy Dunlop loves what we've said. Now, Legendary Builds. This is my friend Joshua from over in Canada. Follow him over on Instagram if you don't do already. He's into custom building and everything like that. And he's also gone into the comic book world and designed and made his own comic that's sold out in stores over in Canada. So make sure you check him out. We've got the one and only Optimus. Evening or won't be around long. Feel rough as. Get well soon, mate. I hope you do feel better. You're posting some absolute flaming hot content on Instagram. I can't say it, like, honestly, the Optimus UK wins my vote every time. Some of the pictures he's posting is seriously amazing stuff.
And his coffee does on a Sunday is absolutely
if you like sitting on a Saturday morning watching a guy drinking coffee in a car at 10 o'clock in the morning, that's the place to go to. And I'll tell you what, it's straight to the point, genuine content, like we are on this show. So head over there.
If you wanted to watch someone sitting in a car drinking coffee, you'd probably just go to your local coffee shop to do that. Mm-hmm. However, the Optimus is extremely entertaining to listen to and watch.
And he's a down-to-earth, genuine guy as well. So make sure you check him out. We've got Comic versus the World. Have a great show, guys. And as always, everyone will catch the replay tomorrow. And I look forward to his comments so I can post back to him because he's always posting interesting comics on the chat after the show as well. So ahoy there, mermaids and mates. Thank you for joining in, sir. Look, there we go. Look, that a Britt Baker t-shirt, Charlie. Yes, it is. The Doctor will see you. Britt Baker DN. Yes, that's the one. Get in there. Love Britt Baker. AEW is absolutely killing it as well. I got this. I got my CM Punk t-shirt, and I also got my Daniel Bryan one as well.
And what you can't see, he's wearing all three of them now at the same time.
All three of them. Look, there's my white one underneath. Look, there we go. Let's see what I actually have. No, I haven't. We've got Leon Russell, everyone's favourite YouTube Heisenberg. Thank you very much, mate. David collects. Yeah. Made it back for a live show. Hey, Tom. Hey, Charlie. Hello there, sir. Hope it's good to have people that don't normally join the live chat. They're in for a time. It's good. We've got Phil. How you doing, sir? Hopefully you can get a rest because you've been taking over from Sif Lordley as he's been living it up, getting married and whatever not in Disneyland. Hopefully you get a rest in the next couple of weeks and you can just you can start posting pictures of yourself in Disneyland and living it up wherever you may be. I'll let Dave collects. He's still at work and he's still listening.
Ledge.
Ba, 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 ba. That's ba, 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 ba. Yeah, that's the tune, is it? Look, there.
I like it.
Tuned in just to see
It did look like I was
Tom
skiing.
having a ski. Maybe it's just me, but I thought that was something else.
Yeah.
But,
Well, isn't that how? Isn't that what you do at
well,
football?
We are a family show. I would stop right now. We're not a family show. We are the Killer Comic Show. This is what we do.
It's too late.
It just goes off.
Watershed.
It goes off and above ball sometimes, but yeah, Darren, it's always appreciated there. Mark Oldroyd, hi Killers, thanks for the t-shirt. I'm glad it arrived safe and sound. I'm glad it finally arrived. So thank you for being in the chat. Thank you for your commitment every week. Thanks for being a great guy, meeting up with us at Thought Bubble, and hopefully the shirt fits you. I hope to see the next review that you do. You're wearing the merch. That'd be great to see. Hell yeah! But Tom, that's everyone we've literally gone through everyone in the chat now. Look, Comics Talk. Tom's got slopes. Yes,
I have got slopes.
He has got slopes. There we go. There he has. La 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 la. There we go.
That's me going down the slope. But
Tom.
Yes, my love.
Have you got, other than your sexy skiing skills, have you got anything else to show off this week?
There's quite a lot of stuff that came in for the shop this week. However, I can't show you it because I've packed most of it ready to go. I had a spare moment today, so I've packed most of it. However, I've got some bits and bobs for myself. So I've got the Peach and Moko variant to Strange Academy, Death of Doctor Strange, which is quite a nice cover. I quite like this. I'm a massive sucker for the Peach and Moko stuff because I think a lot of her stuff is good. It's not all great, but I am a bit of a sucker for some of her stuff. Like some of her female characters are absolutely quality. So I picked that one up just for that. And then
for me, the cover is better than the story for Doctor Strange, the Death of Doctor Strange, Strange Academy.
If I take it out of the sleeve, you'll be able to see it a bit better. But I think the Venom is absolutely wicked at the back. I know it's not Venom.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. And I like the way that she's drawn, what's his name? Dylan? Is it Dylan? I want to say Dylan, but it's not Dylan, is it?
No, I don't think it's Dylan.
No, I don't think it's Dylan.
But that's the thing, like, so obviously you've got Doctor Strange, the Death of Doctor Strange. Issues 1 and 2 came out about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Then we're in now the Death of Doctor Strange, Strange Academy. Again, it ties in. But then there's now this week. This week is the Death of Doctor Strange, Avengers 1, and the Death of Doctor Strange, Spider-Man.
And issue 3.
And issue 3 of the Death of Doctor Strange. So again, it's Marvel flooding the market with all these tie-ins and the stories and stuff. I mean, I'm gonna keep reading the Death of Doctor Strange because I'm enjoying it. But it's just these tie-ins, and like at the back of every comic, it's like, right, make sure you read this one before you read that one that you read last week to read the one that you're going to read in 2 weeks. It's like, I just want to read a comic that flows seamlessly.
I do remember when I first started, years ago, when I first started getting back into comics, I read, I think it was Civil War came out, the first Civil War, and that had a lot of tie-ins, but they all kind of interlinked. And I remember that's where they started that little checklist. And I remember thinking, right, I need to get all of these. Now I feel like that's just an excuse for Marvel to be like, you need to buy more books. They don't make any sense or have anything to do with the story, but you need to buy more books. And as a completionist, they know that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at the back of the book and go, oh, I want all those books. But
yeah, that's just my say. So what else have you got for us?
So he's not here to say the name for me, unfortunately, but I've got the Jenny Frison cover to Wonder Girl issue 5, which I think is absolutely amazing. I love how she manages to make the metal shine.
That's cardstock, isn't it? That is
it
a
cardstock. I do
if
think
they had done that,
yeah.
If they'd done that for that Venom, you're on to a winner.
There's only about 50p difference in the cardstock. I don't understand why they don't do it as a regular thing now. Because you get, mind you, I suppose, like Andy said, you'd get so many more 9.8s all over the shop. Because they're so much sturdier. They're nicer to hold. The camera's not really doing this much justice, but this is awesome. I love it.
Isn't that the one I showed for cover of the week a few weeks ago?
I think it is, mate. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
And you mentioned to me that it was her lasso of truth that stood out really gold.
Yeah. So what have you got? What do you get? Triple G.
What have I got? So welcome Triple G. Thanks for jumping in, sir. And then obviously Thank you, Joshua. Thanks for the shout earlier, by the way. Excited to be watching your show for live for the first time. Thanks for having you, mate. Thank you very much for having me. So, what have we got? So, Mr. Perpetual himself, obviously, it was my birthday last week. And massive shout out to everyone that voted for my cover of the week. I'm not sure if it was because it was a great cover of the week last week or actually because it was my birthday. So, I'm going to agree with these guys and go with a sympathy vote.
No, I think it was a killer cover, mate, to be fair.
I smashed it out of the park with that one. But so obviously it was my birthday last week, and with everything going on with you guys, fantastic meeting up Thought Bubble, being you and Andy and everyone else, absolutely love you guys. There's a story behind this. You might have seen my post on Instagram. So when we was in Thought Bubble on the Saturday, it was on a Sunday actually, me, Andy and Sean were walking around, and there was a comic book store there, and we was like flicking through the comics and stuff, and I came across this Detective Comics 1027 J. Scott Campbell variant. I was like, I really like that. I was like, do I want to? Honestly, I really don't have any more room for comics. I know it's one, but it's quite a thick comic, and I was like, oh, do you know what? Forget it, it's fine. Then yesterday I get home and I've got a package from a wee Scottish man.
A wee Scottish man.
A wee Scottish man, yeah. And I was like, well, what could this be? And I open it up, and Andy, Mr. Perpetual, had sent me this. Now, I'm more impressed at the fact that where we'd been drinking during Thought Bubble, his memory lasted, and he actually remembered the comic that I was looking at. So that's what I'm more impressed about. I mean, the fact that he's one, that he remembered the comic I was looking at, and two, he sent it to me for my birthday, and I thought that was wicked. Honestly, it doesn't do it justice, like, because I've got the ring light and stuff. It doesn't do it justice, but I'm a massive fan of J. Scott Campbell, as you are, and this stuff, it's just,
I could recite J. Scott Campbell's life.
It would have been a pure cover buy for me, but now I've got it, I want to read it, but I'm really thinking of sending it to CGC. Like, it's just, I did it with my Harley Quinn, and that was Detective Comics 1000. I might do it with that. So that's what I picked up. And then I absolutely loved this comic, Radio Apocalypse.
Oh, that's cool. I've not seen the foil one.
And I see that Panels in a Half Pint Superhero posted it up. He got it from Comics and Coffee and Heroes. And I hadn't seen the foil cover anywhere. Like, obviously, I normally get my comics off you, and you didn't have it. And I messaged Alan, who is another fantastic guy. We spent the weekend with him at Thought Bubble, and said, Sean said he got the foil cover of Radio Apocalypse from you. Have you got any left? And he was like, right, I've got one left. Let me send it to you. And he sent it to me. So yeah, I picked this up, and I've got to tell you, the foil on it is amazing.
Yeah, nice, mate.
Like, I love foil covers. I've got the foil cover of Layla Starr, issue #1 behind me. Foil covers really do make it sometimes. Like, sometimes they can be over comprehensive and stuff, but that was a great little pickup.
Charlie, can I interrupt for a second?
Of course you can, mate.
Your Optimus Prime, who drew that?
That was drawn by...
I've just spotted it behind you, mate. That is quality. That
was drawn by Baz Renshaw. Oh, no. That was drawn by Baz Renshaw. That's right. That was drawn by Baz Renshaw at Thought Bubble. It's the same guy that drew Andy's Boba Fett and Sean's Judge Dredd.
Very cool, man.
And the thing is, right, they were doing it for free. So I'm mainly knock my comments down there. Look.
Sorry, mate.
He was doing it for free. As just a thing on his stall. And I was just like, I was really apprehensive. I mean, I think I bumped into Peter, Triple G, and I was really apprehensive about asking someone to do a free sketch. And I was like, oh, well, he's got a sign that says free sketches. So I was like, well, let me just do it. And it was a great marketing tool, because I think I bought a couple of comics. I think Andy bought his some comics and stuff, and it was really good. But it's fantastic. Some of the stuff that he's done is amazing. And as you can see there, I'm going to get
mate,
properly framed and stuff.
You know me, mate. J. Scott Campbell, I'm all over it. Anything Transformers, I'm all over it like a fat kid on cupcake. So when I saw us, I literally just glimpsed him. I knew exactly who it was. Just glimpsed him in the background. I thought, I need to know what that is. I'm gutted now. I had to leave early. I wish I'd have got a free
and the quote that it says, the only Transformers film that counts came out in 1986.
And that is the truth, mate.
Bang on the money. Bang on the money.
There's a challenge at work that they're trying to do with me, basically. They want to see if I can recite that entire... Like, if I can pinpoint what scene is happening by them just giving me a quote from that movie. So We'll see.
Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should do that.
I'd smash it, mate. I know that entire movie script for word. It's a bit sad.
You heard it here first, guys. But you heard it here first. And Josh, yes, it was for free. It was insane, and I was really taken aback by it. And it took him about 25, 30 minutes to do it.
It's amazing, mate.
And it is wicked. It is really, really good. But that's what Thought Bubble was all about, like the intimate one-on-ones you can have with the creators and the writers and stuff. And for me, it's the best Comic-Con in the UK.
It's my favourite customer.
No others come closer. There she is, Connie Dalton. Evening, darling.
My favourite customer.
Hope you're doing well. But talking of legendary bills, so Joshua sent me these. So these are his comics, right?
Yeah.
It's one comic, L60. These are the two. So he's got the main cover and the variant cover, and he signed them as well.
That variant cover.
There we go. Do you know what? I haven't got around. I said to him I was going to read it in the next week or so, but I haven't got around to reading it yet. I've had a flick through it, and I'm looking forward to reading it, Tom. So I think once I've read it, I'll forward it in the post and I'll send it to you. And then you can send it to Andy, and then we can all read it as well, because I'm really looking forward to it. And the fact is that he's such a nice guy. And the fact is that...
I was going to say to you, mate, I've got this digital from Rich. So why don't we do, instead of doing the normal week comics of reviews, why don't we each come to the table with a creator-owned book? So you could bring that one. I'll bring digital. We'll get Andy to pick one. And we'll each read a book that's not necessarily in the main market to promote that person's book. And we'll give them an honest review, whether it's shit or it's good.
Yeah, go for it.
I think we should do it.
100%. Go for it. But yeah, he's just corrected me. And I realised as I said it, because I've been talking to him, he's built the little character. It's called Leo, but it does look like L60. But yeah, it does look like L60. But my bad. And the thing is, I've been talking to him when he was creating his comics. I knew full well it's called Leo, so it's been a long day. I do apologise, but yeah,
mate,
that is
you've been to Lapland. I mean, it's been a long day, mate.
Yeah, it's been a long day, but yeah, well, it's been good. The chat's buzzing. Everyone seems on good form. So I think, without further ado, we should get into the slides as we always do every single Thursday. So let's get straight into it. So, Tom, it's over to you, mate. If anyone in the chat hasn't seen this already, where have you been living? Under a rock?
Yeah, so basically, Christmas is my favourite time of year. I don't know if you can tell from the T-shirt or the fact that I've gone berserk on Instagram. However, my 30% sale has now gone up to 50%. So everything is 50% off except for the CGC, but everything else is fair game. Everything else is 50% off. All the keys, all the exclusives, all the art prints. I think actually the vouchers, I might have to change that. But I think at the moment, if you go quickly now, you can probably pick up the vouchers for 50% off, which is a pretty big steal. Yeah, so I'm doing it for Christmas. It's going to be going from now until the end of December. So yeah, fill your boots, guys. And there is a slight rush because there's been a few people coming in and out of and taking masses of it. So make sure you don't miss on anything you really, really want. You can always email me on Instagram to say, look, hold one back for me for later on in the month. I can do that. That's not a problem. And I obviously will honor the 50% sale. That's not going to change. So yeah, make sure you hop on over. And if you do the old scan, the old QR code, it'll direct you straight to the homepage. So happy days.
Oh, okay. And like, honestly, you've got some seriously good stuff on there. So if you are into your comics and there's something special on there that you want, have a look, because it's coming up to Christmas. And if you can't treat your loved ones, treat yourself. That's my motto. If you can't treat your loved ones, treat yourself. But that's not all. You've got the 50% off, but you've also got a fantastic array of slabs.
Yeah, so the Slab Shop is officially open now. So there are slabs going to be going off and coming back consistently now from CGC. So I'm very happy with this. So our first proper batch have made their way back. There are some really good gems in here. I mean, there's the first appearance of Gwenum. There's the first appearance of I can't remember the name of the character, but it's a Star Wars character in that Darth Vader issue 3. There's the first kind of J. Scott Campbell cover for Demon Days. That's also on there. And there's a couple of others that aren't on here that I can't remember, but there are a couple of other first appearances. Oh, the first appearance of Miracle Molly, but the foil variant is on the website, which is worth getting, which is a Batman 108. I think there's going to be some hard spec on her, to be fair, guys, at some point.
And I think that's honestly, I think that's one of my favourite slabs you got up there.
Yeah.
Like that
100%. I've got 2 trolleys. So...
I know. And 50% off is insane. We'll check out tomorrow. Pete, where have you been? Like Tom has been seriously smashing everything over Instagram. So if you've missed that, you're probably very busy at work.
I basically, at the start of the week, when I had a very slow hour at work, I made some new branding, and I'm really using the hell out of it.
100%. It looks great. It looks great. And honestly, guys, check it out. 50% off, notquitemint.com. Check it out. Buy some stuff. Everyone's a winner. And you've got some fantastic stuff up for grabs. Seriously. And some of the comics, they go, I think some of them go for as little as like £1.50 or £1.75. So you've got some seriously good stuff over there.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I mean, there are some old school Uncanny X-Men and some old school Thors on there that bear in mind the Thors are low numbers. So but don't be fooled by the fact that they're low price. They're not very good grade. That's why they're so low. And then you split that on half. You're basically getting a decent Thor comic for £1, but it isn't the best condition. So just bear that in mind. However, all the Uncanny X-Men's I would definitely put on a mid to high grade. And I've got some really like interesting ones there that would be £30 but are only 15. That's kind of what you're looking at. So yeah, some good stuff, mate.
But still 50%, like people in the chat that have bought from you, and I can say it as well. It is great stuff. Like the comics are very high grade and stuff. So if you're saying that it's a low grade, it's probably still a good grade. Do you know what I mean? Because I've bought comics off eBay from good sellers before, and their stuff isn't as good as yours. And I'm not just saying that because you're a presenter on the Killer Comic Show and you're my mate. I'm speaking the truth. Like if some of your comments showed up shit, I'd be like, Tom, you need to work your game, but you don't.
Well, so and that's the thing, mate. I feel like this is a place where people can be honest with me, and then you can say to me, these books are shit, and you probably will get a refund. I mean, I probably should have said that out loud, but there you go.
But there we go. But yeah, so there's some fantastic stuff over there. There really is. And what we have now is obviously Killer covers December 1st. So obviously the December 1st was yesterday. So who's winning so far? I know I've got one, and I'm sticking with that because I'm done with it.
I believe me and Andy are drawing 4-4, or 4-4. I might be winning. No, I think it's 4-4, and then there's you with 1 or 2.
So we've done. I think we've been doing it for 10. I think this is the 11th week.
Yeah.
So I think this is the 10th week. Sorry.
Yeah, so that makes sense. 4. 4-4-2.
Yeah. So this is so it is the 11th week. So basically, we've got the Killer covers for this week. Now, up first, we have me. I've gone with Darth Vader. I've gone with the Star Wars Crimson Reign issue number 1 by Marvel, Marco Torrini, variant B. Now, for me, I was looking at this, and the thing that instantly drew me to this comic is the actual color work on it, how real it looks like Darth Vader, but also the detailing of the characters in Darth Vader's eyes. It's impeccable. I'm not sure, but it's impeccable. Like you two have picked fantastic covers as well, and I think it's going to be another close week. That's just me talking, but this is probably one of the best Star Wars covers that I've seen, and there are a few out there. Like we had Star Wars Dr. Aphra, and there's some. I think the Optimus picked up one the other week, which was incredible. But obviously, this is just going to be a standard cover for probably going for like $3.99. This for me, this artwork is amazing.
I like how it looks leather. I like how his helmet looks leather. Shiny, it's nice. What's up, GP?
Everyone loves a shiny helmet, don't they? Everyone loves a shiny.
Everyone loves the shiny helmet.
I haven't seen that Crimson Reign cover. That's insane. That's what I like to do. That's what we like to do on this show, is show stuff that you might not have seen before. But here we go. That's Star Wars Crimson Reign. That's my entry.
I like it.
It does, doesn't it? That's my entry for this week. Then we've got Andy's The Joker Annual 2021 cover B, which is the Dan Hip cardstock variant.
I like this cover.
This is amazing.
If he hadn't picked this before me, I'd have picked this one.
This is a great cover. Honestly, I said to him when he sent it to me, I was like, I think you've won here. I think you've won. But what do you think?
I'll tell you what, like I said, if I hadn't have picked mine, or if Andy hadn't have picked before me, this would have been my cover. And the reason for that is I absolutely love the badge pins.
I think they're great.
They really catch your eye, and the fact that they're pretty much everyone's on there. All the go-to characters are on there. I think that's really smart.
I think, like, honestly, like, we've been looking at covers over the last year and stuff, but since we started doing this, I've become really competitive. Like, well, I'm going to go for that, but then am I going for that because I like it, or what I think the viewers are going to go for?
Yeah.
What I think the viewers are going to like. And it's only last week or the week before I was like, do you know what? I'm going to go for what I like.
Yeah.
Because, and I proved it last week. And it is. Yeah. And as the nerd herd in the US say, do it right, collect what you like. So I'm doing it right. I'm picking what I like. So that's Andy's. I'm a massive fan of the Joker. I've read all the comics, like the one that we've had in. So
just out of interest, has anyone noticed, and comment in the chat if you have, where the Mad Hatter is on this one?
No.
Because it's really clever. Because he isn't a badge pin.
You've got me looking now.
So, do you want me to tell you? Do you want me to give you a hint?
Yeah, go on.
So, the Mad Hatter does the Mad Hatter Tea Party, correct?
Oh, of course. And he has his cup and the hand.
So, it's the tea bag. It's the little teeny, weeny, tiny bit of paper that goes on the tea bag is the Mad Hatter. That, for me, attention to detail is insane.
Oh, my God, that's great. That is great.
It's good, isn't it?
Everyone's saying, look, Chris Bell, very nice. Trying not to show my hand. Last time I was excited about one, it was a bust in the vote. And then, look, Joshua got the cup. That's great. That is great. It would be interesting to know if Andy knew that, to be fair.
Yeah. I bet he did. Or he'll say he did, just because I've said it.
Yeah. Here we go. And then, so that's mine and Andy's. 2 great covers so far. And then, Tom, what did you have for us?
So I went for Carlos Dandy's cover for Wonder Woman 2021 Annual Issue 1. I absolutely love this cover because it is very Japanese manga, and I love Japanese manga. So I picked it for that reason. I like how powerful she looks. I like how her legs look like they could crush a human skull. I think that's really quite cool. And I like how badass she looks. That's why I picked it. I think she's got a really good, powerful pose. It just really sums up what I would expect Wonder Woman to be like. Rather than a lot of the Wonder Woman covers can tend to be a bit like mamby-pamby, a bit wishy-washy. I like that this is kind of, she's a badass. She's going to kick your ass. And I really like that. So that's why I picked it this week. And also, like I said, it's Japanese manga. It almost looks like like she's got some kind of mechanical tech on her legs. I know it isn't. It's just armor. But I think it's really quality.
Well, that's what I've got to say. I like how rough and ready this is. It looks like it's been a comic that's been rolled up, thrown around, and like where you've opened it, the creases and everything has adjusted the artwork.
Yeah,
I think this could go places. I don't think it's better than my Darth Vader one, but it could go places.
I don't think it's better than mine.
Here we go. But look, thick. That's the word you were looking for. Thick.
Yeah, thick thighs.
Thick thighs. But yeah, what we've done, we've got the vote up, and at the moment, I think Andy's placing his own votes. Joker's going at 50. Do you know what? Joker's going at 57% at the moment. Mine's at 14, and yours is at 29. And nice. I think it's just tipped in favour of the Joker because of that tiny little Easter egg on the front cover.
Shouldn't have said anything. Should have kept it
to myself. You shouldn't have said a thing. You really shouldn't have done. But it's it is what it is. Fantastic.
You live and learn.
Let's have a look for them again. So we've got mine, fantastic Marco Torrini variant B for Star Wars. We have cover B by Dan Hipp for the Joker with a nice little Easter egg there of the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. And we have the thick thighs of Wonder Woman. Carlos the Anders cardstock variant for that. Look at that. Who doesn't want a thick-thighed Diana with a lasso of truth around your neck? Anyway, that's a different show. Moving swiftly on. It's time for week 47 review. So obviously we do this a week behind. So we're on week 48 this week. Week 47 was last week. And the comics we chose were Good Boy, issue number 1 by Source Point Press. We've got House of Slaughter, issue number 2 from Boom Studios, which was Andy's pick. Good Boy was mine. We've got Hulk number 1 from Marvel, which was obviously your pick. And we have the viewer of YouTube's pick, and that was Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, issue number 1. 4 pretty decent comics. What do we think about them? Let's find out. So up first, it was House of Slaughter, issue number 2, obviously written by the fantastic and genuine down-to-earth guy, James Tynion. And we have artist and cover artist, Wether Dell'Edra. There was I think there was only 4 or 5 covers out this week. Obviously, we've got the main cover by Chris Sheehan. Cover B by Wether Dell'Edra. Cover E, which is the Old Koch 1 in 50 incentive. And we have
stunning
the Cow Ingu.
It is stunning in real life.
It would be good if that was a foil. That'd be incredible. That'd be great.
Say what's really cool is the fact that it looks like he's kind of crushing paper, but it's not. Right. He's crushing his heart, like where he is. It's really clever. Some of the details you can find in it are really clever. I like that it's 3 different art styles. So you've got sketch, ink, and pencil. I think it's really clever.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it really, really does look nice. And the fact is it's a 1 in 50 incentive, so it's always going to look nice. And then we've got the Cow Engu Color Splash exclusive. This comes in 3 covers. It comes in the Color Splash exclusive. It comes in the black and white, and then it comes in the full color. So this was Andy's pick, but what did you think of this, Tom?
So this is the follow-on from issue 1. At the end of issue 1, you find out that Aaron has been sent to find, I've got the name of this guy now. Is it Jace? Find Jace to basically kill him or whatever it is that he's done. So in this issue, we kind of get to find out why, but you don't get to find out why. You've got to get that anticipation. You're going to find out why he's been sent there. You get a bit more of a backstory on Jace and what he's, where he's come from, how he's ended up at the House of Slaughter, what he's had to do whilst being part of the House of Slaughter. What I really liked about this is the fact that they basically get him to unleash his monster and then recapture his monster just to prove that he is part of the House of Slaughter. Really clever. I really liked this book. And I tell you what, we talked about issue 1 a few weeks ago and how, was it just a hype? Something's killing the children. Would it have done it on its own without that book? I think this issue makes it stand on its own. I don't think you have to have read any of the others to get it, because it kind of throws you in the deep end. You hear about these monsters, you find out about the monsters. You get a little bit of a backstory on Jace. I thought it was a really good book. Would I say it was my favorite book this week? No. But it is definitely up there with a good book that I've read this week. I really did enjoy it. And I thought the backstory on Jace was really cool. And I liked the dynamic between him and Aaron, and how they're not allowed to be friends. And then they are friends, but then they're not friends. And then the way it ends is really cool. I really like the way it ends, to be honest.
Now, see, for me, on like, everyone knows we're positive about comics. So Andy's like the go-between. Andy is like the kind of like, well, I'm enjoying this issue number 1 for me. I was kind of like, as you mentioned, is it going to fall into the same bracket of how successful Somebody's Killing the Children is? In my eyes, no, it's got a lot to do. And I think at the moment, it's just pulling on the coattails of Something is Killing the Children. People are thinking, Something's Killing the Children. It's going to be really interesting to find a backstory of how, like, Jace and how Aaron and how Erica, they all came together, how they've kind of ended up in where they are now. That was issue number 1. I was kind of like, yeah, it is what it is. And I picked up 3 covers from you for that. I was like, I got sucked into it. And as Connie said, she's a sucker for these covers.
Yeah,
I was the same. Issue number 2, obviously, this is on my pull list review, so I've got it coming. Issue number 2, I kind of went in it a bit apprehensive. I was like, right, how's this going to go? I think it's starting to pick up pace now. It's really starting to pick up pace now. I think James Tynion and Wether Dell'Edra, obviously, they know how to work. They've been working together for ages, so they've got their rhythm. They know how to work with the artwork. They know how to work with the narrative, and how to put everything together with the character building and everything, like putting the whole story and the narrative together. The relationship for me between Aaron and Jace is what's going to be so key to the success of this story.
Absolutely, mate. It's not about the monsters in this. It's about their demons between the two of them.
And that's the thing. Everyone's looking at Something That's Killing the Children thinking, right, it's the monsters that only the children can see. In this, I think it's the monsters that these two see within themselves.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think at the ending of issue number 2, you're kind of like, really wasn't expecting that. You really weren't expecting it. And if you haven't read this by now, pick it up, because the ending to it, I think it's going to play significantly into the next 2 or 3 issues. I think we'll really start to see how Jace and Aaron become who they are. And obviously it's going into the backstory from when I think it was Jace was Saint the Butcher. Was he Saint the Butcher?
Saint the Butcher, yeah. That's the other house. He's House Butcher.
Yeah, so he was a House of Saint Butcher, and now obviously we see him transcending and transferring his monster over into the House of Slaughter. And that's the first time we've kind of seen the whole setup of how people are entered into the House of Slaughter and stuff like that. So that was really, really interesting. For me, this is a killer.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Yeah, agree. There's one thing. Sorry, go on.
I think it's going to get better and better, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. There's one thing I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but when they look at Jace, like in the kind of prequel before you see him at the fire with Aaron, he's got completely like normal face, and if you see him by the fire, he's got this cut around his eye here. Which actually I think glows at one point during the. I don't know whether it's just the fire reflection or whatever, but it'd be interesting to see how he got that scar and what that scar's all about. I hope they delve into that. Yeah,
and I think the main cover is quite telling to the story. I mean, it's obviously you can see at the back it's set in the woods, and obviously there's Jason stuff. So if you haven't read this, I would recommend it. I think it's quite a good and. As Joshua just said, I haven't read this yet, but been hearing all about the hype. Would you suggest I read this?
Yeah,
I would. But in your opinion, Tom, would you say to Joshua, read Something Is Killing the Children first before you read this, or could you kind of jump into this as a prelude to Something Is Killing the Children?
If you haven't read Something Is Killing the Children, I would probably read them side by side, up to a point. Because there is something that happens in Something Is Killing the Children that will ruin this book for you, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So if I was you, I'd read so many issues of Something Is Killing the Children, probably the first story arc up until towards the last 2 issues, and then read this alongside it. And then that way you get in the full picture of the House of Slaughter and, Something Is Killing the Children as a like universe. I think that would really work. If you're that's basically how I would do it. But then I wouldn't worry too much about not reading Something's Killing the Children, because this I think will be its own standalone book. But I think, like you said, Charlie, it just needs that little bit of momentum to get going and stuff. But yeah,
I definitely think for me the relationship and the monsters in between. I mean, look at the 1 in 50 cover. You can see they're clashing heads there, and it's so telling. There's a part in it where they kind of embrace, and you kind of feel for them.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Well, I kind of want to ask you something. I kind of want to do a bit of a speculation, but I know some people in the chat might not have actually read Something's Killing the Children. I don't want to spoil one particular thing that happens that could ruin this book for people. But I have a theory about what will happen going into the future of Something's Killing the Children, and it has to do with Jace.
I'll talk to you
off. I think I'll talk to you offline about it.
Yeah, go for that. Definitely go for that. So on my behalf, it's a killer. Tom, is it a killer for you?
Killer, mate.
And obviously, Mr. Perpetual is in the chat. He's just said, make sure you give the thumbs up and a Glasgow kiss and subscribe. Now, Glasgow kiss, that's quite brutal.
That's quite rough.
But yeah, this is Andy anyway. 18 to go, 700. But as it's his comic, Andy, I know you're there, sir. Tap once for yes, tap twice for no. Can you just put in the chat if you thought this was a killer or a binner? Because it is your comic of choice, so you can just let us know. But yeah, there we go. So
and
that was House of Slaughter issue number 2.
Loads of accounts and voting for your own book. Stop voting for your own book, Andy.
Well, yeah, talking about that. So we've got Star Wars Crimson Reign issue number 1 at 43%. We've got the Joker annual at 43%, and we've got Wonder Woman annual number 1 at 14%. So that's pretty close. Well, the top 2 are anyway. It's pretty close.
Yeah.
But
well, as long as Andy doesn't win.
There we go. No, indeed. And there we go. Look, Panels in a Half Pint superhero is here. Evening peeps, and it was a killer from Andy. So there we go. So that's the good way to start the killer comic show, as always, with a killer. So up next we have good boy. Here it is. This is it. This is the one. Good Boy issue number 1 from Source Point Press, written by Christina Blanch and Garrett Gunn, and art by Kit Wallis. This was available in, and it still is available in your comic shops and online from November the 24th. There's 8 covers that I've picked. There's some fantastic covers. I think there's a range of about 38 to 40 covers, but I've gone through the 8 that I like. We've got the main cover by Nick Bradshaw, which is here as well. I managed to pick this up. I know you didn't, Tom. So massive shout out to Source Point Press for sending us the digital version, so you and Andy were able to read it, because I know you weren't able to get to your LCS this week. So massive shout out to them. We've got the Kickstarter exclusive cover A, the Scarface homage exclusive sketch cover. We've got the Forstner's Izzy's Comics exclusive variant cover.
I love that cover.
That's awesome, isn't it? So I think it's like Stray Dogs. It's from the same artist as Stray Dogs. So
Yeah,
obviously there's that
quality.
essence there. We've got the Hawk Jaw Comics Tyler Kirkham variant cover. I can't remember what film that is from. I think it's Devil's Advocate. I think that's the film. It is Devil's Advocate.
They're all Keanu movies, aren't they?
Yes. We've got the NYCC 2021 exclusive variant cover, which is all kinds of awesome. We've got the Facade Comics Ramon Gay exclusive, and then we have the Kickstarter exclusive cover B. Now, I'm going to start this off with a massive hell yes, this comic kicks ass, right? I've got to say, if you are a fan of John Wick, this is the comic you have been after, because it is such a overall homage to the film and the 3 films that have been out there. This for me was so much more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be some knockoff of John Wick.
Yeah.
After seeing Andy's cover, not last week, the week before, I thought this was going to be some knockoff of John Wick, and it's just literally going to be reading a comic book version of John Wick. I was wrong, because this comic was so enjoyable. The artwork was wicked. Like, I can actually show you some of the artwork. Like, it's just in pieces, in places, right? It's so well done with like the thick line work and the narrative and stuff. But then in other places, it's just literally, look at that, just gory. Look at that. And the act, for me, now it does tie into John Wick. It does tie into John Wick. There's some subtle nods there talking about John and talking about his wife and the name of the dog and stuff like that. Source Point Press, I think they're onto an absolute winner here with this comic, because it was a good read. It was a good boy. It was wicked. I really enjoyed it. It was a good boy of a read. It was wicked. And the covers, I don't think they did that bad with the covers. I don't think they put too many out. And I think the way that they've tied back and they've done like all the homages and stuff, I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to be picking up the next. I'm on this. I'm definitely picking up the next issues going forward. That's me. Mic drop. I'm done. Thomas.
Boom. Right. So, when you said we were going to read this and the covers and stuff from Andy, I was very skeptical. I thought this is going to be a retelling of John Wick. It's just going to be a bit, meh.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a retelling of John Wick, but it's a retelling from the dog's point of view, if the dog didn't die. And it is amazing. It's so well done. The artwork really does fit the story. Like Charlie said, in places it's really kind of subtle. When it gets to the emotional part, the line work is really subtle. The colors are really subtle when it's an emotional bit, and then when it's something like this, where it's horrific, it's quite gritty. It's almost like watching the movie, but from the dog's point of view, which is exactly what I think they were trying to do. And I really liked it. I thought the character development was great. I literally fell in love with Flint straight away. I was like, this guy.
Look how they've done that. They've split it over 4 panels.
Well, we talk about panel work quite a lot, and I think this is quite clever the way they've done this. Yeah. Each individual panel makes you reset your thought process, and I really think that's clever that they've done that. So you're working your way through the dog's facial expression. It's so good. It is, yeah. If you haven't read it, guys, or you don't, go and get it. Go pick it up. Even see if you can get a digital copy. It is so good. Definitely a killer for me. I would 100% put it as killer.
Yeah, I mean, Andy, you're not in the chat. You're not on the show, but I would like to see if this is a killer or a binner for you, because this was one that I was on the fence about for you. I thought he's not gonna like this, or he's gonna have a very strong opinion about it. So
It might be one of those
what
ones
straight.
that Andy's a little bit like, it's the same old kind of
He's
thing.
answered our question. He's answered a Good Boy is what Stray Dogs wishes it was.
Absolutely, mate.
Do you know what? If you read Stray Dogs, like I remember reading Stray Dogs issue #1 and saying to Andy, I'd get on this because it's a cross between All Dogs Go to Heaven and I don't know, another dog's, something like 101 Dalmatians.
101 Dalmatians. I actually didn't like Stray Dogs.
Really? But this is my point. If you haven't read Stray Dogs and you don't really want to, I would 100%. I'd recommend it. But get on Good Boy. Honestly, it's so enjoyable, and it is, and like it does tie back quite literally. I mean, there's a point in here. I'm just going to find it. That if you've seen the film, if you've seen the John Wick films, you will understand the significance of these.
Yeah. I mean, it's so clever that they're basically retelling the John Wick story, but from the dog's point of view. I just think that's a really clever idea. And obviously there are spins into it. Like there's a bit where the police come to talk to the lady, and she's like, she makes the comment, like she makes a comment about the fact that there are animal type characters, but she doesn't say in the world. She's like, in publishing. And I think that's really clever, the way they're like, you know, there are animal type human beings that have been written about. That's what that's just really clever. I thought that was really quite cool little clip.
And there's also a panel in it where they talk about John didn't really like, he kind of left his work and then he went back into it, and then they kind of briefly mention about the whole thing about like the excommunicado and stuff like that. And I just thought I thought it was a really fun-filled issue. It's quite gory in pieces, but it fits very well. So if you've seen the film John Wick, you know what to expect from this. But it's John Wick's dog that does the deed, not John Wick.
He's a good boy.
He is a good boy at what he does. So yeah, this for me was another killer. Source Point Press, absolute legends for sorting us out the digital copy of this. But yeah, wicked, another killer. Same for you?
Oh yeah, mate, absolute killer. I'd give this a gold stamp for the laugh.
Yeah, of course you was. That's why I'm not giving you the power. And Good Boy is what Stray Dogs wishes it was. So that's from Andy. So I'm assuming that is another killer. So we're on a roll here. 3 killers. 2 killers.
Killer, chicken dinner.
And then what have we got from you, Thomas?
So my pick this week was the highly anticipated first issue of Hulk, written by Donny Cates and the artwork by Ryan Ottley. As you can see, the cover A, the main cover is by Ryan Ottley. Then you've got cover A variant. Who's that from, Charlie? Is that actually from
Bjorn? That's Bjorn Berendez.
Yeah, but who is it exclusive for someone? Because that's not a normal variant cover.
It doesn't say. It literally just said that's. I mean, that's a take of Hulk 181. That's
it
a
is,
variant
and it's
of
really
181.
Cool. I like it.
Yeah,
I'd much prefer the Clayton Crane one. Again, I don't think that's a normal cover. I think that's a store exclusive. But I really like that's a cool cover, man. And then obviously the Ryan Stegman one is another store exclusive, which is pretty cool. I don't even know how you say that. Marco Turini.
There we go. Turini.
Another store exclusive. The Jinhung Lee one isn't. You can get that one from your local comic shop. And the David Nakayama one, well, what can we say? He's a friend of the show, and he is actually amazing at what he does. If you haven't seen these Gwen covers, the Gwenverse covers that are coming out, they're pretty cool as well. And then the Yoon one is a limited edition exclusive, and I believe it's exactly the same as the Venom one that you picked up a couple of weeks ago. So it's got that two-tone thing with the glasses. I really hope he's put it on cardstock this time round.
No, so this is the thing, right? So Marvel don't do cardstock. Like they don't do cardstock. So when you get that cover, it comes in a nice box, and there's a demo plate of that comic. I tried the 3D glasses with the demo leaflet that comes with it, and it stands out much better than the Venom one. So in hindsight, I would have picked up that instead of that. But I'm not going to pick up both because I'm kind of feel let down from that.
Yeah,
So it's a great cover. The whole concept of it, you can see what they're trying to do. But if it was on cardstock, it would be so much better. And I can't see me investing £25 plus included postage on that when it's just going to be a normal cover. But it does work better, and I think Pete from Triple G Comics will agree with me on that. It does work better. It lends itself more to the 3D variant of what they're trying to do, more than the Venom one does.
Yeah, I think it works better when you've got two people rather than just one. And also because Hulk's green, it probably picks up the green and red much better than your blue and red on the Venom.
Yeah, and I have to agree with the Optimus here. I love that Nijkamp. Honestly, it's if you can go on to leagueofcomicbooks.com and have a look at it and just literally blow it up, you can see the detailing of the gridding system that is used to create the Hulk. It's phenomenal. Honestly, have a look at that. But anyway, your review, Thomas.
Okay, so the premise of this one of the Hulk. So imagine that Bruce Banner has basically got full control over the Hulk, but instead of being able to switch between him and the Hulk, he actually is the Hulk. But what he's done is he's managed to turn the Hulk's brain into a starship. So almost like a space shuttle. So he's the captain of the space shuttle, and the Hulk is the engine. However, it's all up here, and out in the physical world, he's the Hulk, smashing things to pieces, but with Banner in control. Like complete control, and he can make the Hulk get stronger and angrier by just, where in the engine room just firing shit at him, which is brilliant. As a premise, I read it and I thought, oh God, what is Donny doing here? That sounds horrendous. What are you doing? I read it, I loved it, and Donny, take my money, mate, because I just think Donny's got such a way of retelling stories or coming up with new ways of telling stories that make you kind of step back and go, well, how does that work then? And then the explanation behind this of the fact that, like, what if Hulk isn't the bad guy? What if Hulk is the hero that's come to save us from Bruce Banner, and Bruce Banner is the bad guy? This is kind of exploring that idea as well. And there's an amazing scene in this where, because Banner has taken over the Hulk, the Iron Man tries to stop him, and he holds his arm in one point, and the Hulk, because Banner has got control, makes the Hulk do something that you wouldn't expect him to do, and it is horrific, but also brilliant at the same time. So yeah, I would definitely say this is one of my favorite books this week. It's not my, I would say Good Boy was my big pick of this week. I would say Good Boy was my favorite book. This is my close second. I think this was absolutely insane. I loved it from start to finish, and I cannot wait to read issue 2. What did you think, Charlie?
See, Andy didn't get time to read this, so he's interested to see what we say. But I loved the Immortal Hulk by Al Ewing. Like, it really showed the way that he can convey his writing and make the Hulk such a lovable character and throw it into like a horror variant type of orientation of like everything that the Hulk's about, and flip it on his head. So we kind of got the horror version of the Hulk for Immortal Hulk from 1 to 50. Great story. When I didn't think I could enjoy the Hulk more than I do, Mr. Donny Cates just throws this out there willy-nilly, and you're like, this is great. Now, I love this. Like, I genuinely really enjoyed this, and I'm not a massive Hulk fan. I only read the Immortal Hulk because it was Al Ewing, and I was like, well, okay, I'd like to see it. And it was 50 issues. Like, jumping into a run that's 50 issues, you're like, there's got to be something. And there's got to be something going on with it because it's lasted 50 issues. There's got to be some goodness underneath it. With this, oh my God, this is so different, and something that I don't think any reader of a Hulk comic would be expecting.
Yeah.
The whole thing, if you haven't read this now, if you haven't read this already, I'm going to flash these up, right? Because these haven't been used in ages, and I'm going to do that there as well, because basically, as you've mentioned already, the fact is that Bruce Banner, everyone sees the Hulk as Bruce Banner and the Hulk. It's one person, two minds, right? Where in this comic, Donny Cates has so smartly separated the two. They've become two separate entities, and they are now telling two different parts of the same story, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because we get introduced, I think we get introduced to Iron Man, we get introduced to the Avengers, but we also get introduced to a different, horrendous type of Bruce Banner that I don't think anyone's ever seen before.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm more interested how this story is going to portray Bruce Banner as we're seeing him now than the Hulk. I mean, this for me is a Bruce Banner story, not the Hulk.
Yeah. It's about him being the monster, isn't it?
It's just like, I've got to take my hats off to Donny Cates for a first issue. For a Hulk comic, I've read Hulk comics. As I said, I'm not a massive Hulk fan, but I've read Hulk comics first issues before, and nothing's impacted me as much as this has. Because the scene that you're talking about, I'm not going to mention it because I want people to experience it for themselves. But you really wouldn't expect it.
It's not what I would have expected from a Hulk comic.
No.
Let's put it that way.
No,
I would have expected this to be a bit more like smashing my way out of it, not doing what he did.
And it's, I can, with Donny Cates, I love his work, and I think this for me will be up there with Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, mate.
100%. And the fact is that the horror element we're seeing in issue 1 is only going to carry through. It can only logically carry through to the rest of the issues.
But what I think is really interesting in this issue is they touch on the fact of how has he done this? How has Bruce Banner managed to split the two minds apart, inhabit one body, but to do it as if he's piloting a spaceship or piloting a ship? How has he done that? And they come across it like Doctor Strange is like, I don't know how he's done this. It's not physically possible. I've checked everything. I've checked all my records. How has he done this? So it's that kind of thing. It's like, how dark has Bruce Banner gone to be able to control the Hulk? Not spoiling it for anyone, but in the first couple of literally in the first page, he has a little bit of a dialogue with Betty Ross, and that's an interesting kind of conversation he has with her, which is great. And how that ends is quite abrupt.
Now, Andy said this is only 5-issue run, right? If anyone in the chat can check this out. If it is, I'm going to go out on a limb and say these 5 issues will be as impactful and if not better than the 50 issues of Immortal Hulk.
I thought
I'm going to go out and say that.
But yeah, I think he might be right.
If it is 5 issues, I think there's like it's going to be great. I'm really, really invested in this. I'm 100% love this. I'm with Joshua on this. The artwork on these are awesome. Really loving that David Nakayama one. That David Nakayama one for me is my favourite. I think it's great. And honestly, if you can just take time to go onto League of Comic Books, have a look, search for the Hulk comic, look at this, and you will see the detailing on the Hulk of the gridding system of what he's used to do his color. It's just amazing. I'm not explaining it well enough, but it is great. This comic for me, I want to read it again now that we've reviewed it. I want to read it again because it is great. It is really, really great. It's another killer for me. We knew this was going to happen because we don't not like comics. Yeah,
true.
if Andy was here. But Andy's in the chat, so if he can turn around and just say if this is a killer or a binner, he can kind of keep us on the straight and narrow. So it's a killer from me. It's a killer from Tom.
It's a killer
we'll have to find out what Daddy Perpetual says.
Daddy.
But he's not going to comment. But what was you going to say, Tom?
I forgot.
Okay.
I forgot.
Okay. Well.
Moving on.
Right. But because I've set up this new thing, I think, hold on one second, I think I've set this up right because we've got, StreamYard have done this new thing now where you can kind of just drop your slides in and you don't have to use like a separate screen and stuff like that. So I'm just literally going to go in and find out if, no, there we are. So it is right. Yes, I have added that slide. So bear with me one second. So obviously this is our comic. This was your pick. Up next, we've got the viewer's choice of Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, issue number 1. So obviously we've got the main cover by Janoy Lindsay. We've got a Scotty Young variant cover, which I'm definitely going to be picking up because I love Scotty Young. We've got the Todd Notch headshot variant cover, and we have the Enid Balam variant cover. I'm going to go straight in with this and say it was a binner for me, 100% binner.
Absolutely. From the moment I opened the page, it was a binner.
Right, because, right, it was. Let's be honest, right? I haven't watched the Hawkeye series yet on Disney, and I've just been reading what the Optimist has put up today because I don't want to go into any spoilers and stuff. And he said he's fantastic, so I was kind of like, why couldn't this comic be like that? This for me was everything that I don't really enjoy about comics. It was like, we talk about Dark Ages being a comic book that takes you back to wanting to read comics, be enjoyable again. I was like, okay, so on the back of that, let's see if the premise of this sets up to be like that. Honestly, did not enjoy this comic whatsoever. I found it disjointed. I found it jumped around. I found like the character dialogue, and it just didn't work for me. And I just didn't like it. I'm not even going to waste the time on giving it the satisfaction of trying to give it an in-depth review, because I'm gutted. I didn't like it. The only thing that I want from this is that Scotty Young cover. That's it.
Nice. I like it.
That's what I'm saying. Binner. 100% binner.
Well, yeah, I agree. I think it's 100% a binner. I didn't like it from start to finish. I understand what they tried to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
That it's trying to be a modern comic for modern readers. So people that use their mobile phone all the time and text each other and do WhatsApp groups. I get that they're trying to make it funny and that they're trying to make it like more relatable to people. I just think it tried too hard to be funny and too hard to be something it isn't. It wasn't fun. I didn't find it a fun comic. I didn't read it and think this is great. I did that thing that I do, and I think most dyslexics do this. If I don't get engaged with something, I skim read. And I have no idea what's going on. And by the time I get to the end, I'm like, what happened at the start? So I completely skim read read this entire book, really. All I can tell you is it's an argument between her and her sister. That's literally it. And there's some WhatsApp messages that go between her and the other West Coast Avengers and the Young Avengers. That's pretty much it. Nothing happens in this book. Nothing made me want to read issue 2. So I will not be reading issue 2. And I don't know about anyone else, but these Todd Nog is an amazing artist, but these headshot variants that they keep shitting out are not the nicest of covers. Why do I want someone's head on a cover? Like, it just, yeah. The Scott Young one is cool, though. That's its only saving grace.
That is the only saving grace. And obviously, like, heading back to the chat, so obviously, Andy said he didn't read the whole bit. It's a binner, so I'm guessing we really didn't do that justice. So, but we'll let him decide that. We've got the Optimist that said it's great. He's going back to the Hawkeye TV show, and he said it's somewhere between Die Hard and Home Alone.
Oh, nice! Two of my favorite movies.
That's an interesting mashup. And then we've got the Comic Room. Sorry, I couldn't be with you all the way through, guys. Still suffering from COVID. Wish you well. I hope you do get better. Honestly, it's always a pleasure seeing you here, and it's a shame that we didn't manage to see you at Thought Bubble, but I hope you did enjoy it. But yeah, Andy said this was pure shit. Hands down, a money grab. My eyes were bleeding. Honestly, on this show we give honest reviews, and this, don't waste your money. Do not go out and waste your money.
Don't waste your money. I'm so glad I didn't buy any for the shop. I'd have been
even if you are a Hawkeye, Kate Bishop fan, don't subject yourself to such torture of reading this comic. It does nothing other than what Tom said is, other than her having an argument with her sister and chasing around her dog, who's called Lucky, there is nothing significant to take away from this comic. Absolutely nothing at all.
No,
it was a waste, and it was a skim read comic. So there we go. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Anything from this show, go and pick up Good Boy, Hulk, and House of Slaughter 2. Don't bother with Hawkeye.
No, I 100% would not bother with Hawkeye. It's not even worth it.
Whilst we're on the subject of Die Hard and Home Alone, do we think Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
100%.
Yes, I agree. I completely agree.
100% it's a Christmas film. It is a Christmas movie. It is. Like, it is. Of course, it is a Christmas movie. But yeah, that's all the comics reviews. So we got 3 out of 4. Weren't that bad. They are fantastic comics. Pick up Hulk 1, pick up Good Boy, and pick up House of Slaughter issue number 2.
Good
But
point.
that's the covers of last week. Oh, it is 100%. That's the covers of last week. Let's get on to. There we go. I just realised something. I forgot to do the Killer Covers intro.
Oh, never mind.
That you worked so hard on creating an hour and 50-minute intro for. It was wicked.
Have you not had the short version yet? Have I not sent you the short version?
You have sent me. I just haven't had time to upload it. So
I was going to say I did skim it down, but I couldn't remember whether I'd send it or not.
But this is but before we do get into this, Legendary Bills, I think he absolutely loved our review of Kate Bishop. So yeah, if you get stuff like that in Canada, don't bother buying it. Just don't bother. Or if you do want to do like an unboxing video, pick it up, put it in a bin and burn it, because that would get you the views. That'd be great. I'd watch that 100%. Yeah, and then we've got cheers, guys. I'm getting there slowly. Good. Recover. Sit back and listen to us chat about comics. That's the best way to get over it. Have you guys checked out the Berserker comic? Funny story that, Joshua. I got Berserker issue number 1, the Lee Bemijo 1 in 25 cover. Picked that up in March, sent it off to CGC, still ain't got it. Berserker comic for me can do one. That is 100% money grabbing all over the place. Honestly, that cover number 1 got so much hype, and then it got auctioned. Is it auctioned? Sanctioned? Optioned? I'm going to go with optioned. Optioned for a Netflix TV show.
Auctioned by Netflix. I think that's what it should be called from now on.
Auctioned. It got auctioned. It went to a Netflix TV series, but I stopped reading it after issue number 1, and yeah,
I couldn't agree more, mate. I read issue up to issue 3, and it was just a bit pants. Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, and look, Mark, it plays Jingle Bells. Of course, it's a Christmas film. There we go.
Yes.
There we go. And Tommy's offended me. Wait, no one sent me the memo about the Christmas slide upgrade.
Where were you last week? I did it last week.
I won't start saying Merry Christmas until the 2nd or 3rd week of Christmas. So Tom's favourite time of the year is Christmas. So we kind of just let him. He hasn't got all the power. We haven't given him all the power for the show yet, but we've given him the power to add Christmas jingles and jungles and decorations to his slides. So there we go, Tom. This is your killer keys for December 8th.
Come on, you got to have me. You got to let me have this month at least. You get 11 months without it. I get 1 month with it. So come on.
He misses one show.
No.
But you was on the,
I did it last week, Andy.
It was last week.
Open your eyes.
It was last week. There we go. But anyway, Devil's Reign.
Right. So yes. So next week for the 8th of December, Marvel will be releasing the first issue of Devil's Reign, which is their new crossover event that's coming in the new year. So it starts next week, but the big crossover event is going into the new year. And this one is written by Chip Zdarsky, and it is coming off the back of the most recent Daredevil run. So it's the idea of, obviously, the Kingpin is the mayor of New York. He's putting in this, it's a bit like Civil War, if you like. So he's putting in this task force, which are his Thunderbolts. And they're going to be basically hunting and taking on all our heroes because he is in charge and he doesn't agree with being in the city. This is particularly a key, mainly because it's issue 1, but also because this is the first appearance of the brand spanking new Kingpin Thunderbolts. We have no idea who is on that team yet, so it is going to be quite interesting. The only person that has been confirmed on the Devil's Reign Thunderbolts team is Taskmaster as the leader of the group. So that could be quite an interesting thing to go from it. And I think Rhino might be speculated, but I'm not sure if he's considered it actually in it.
So Tom, one thing, I'm going to interrupt you. So obviously when we had the King in Black run, the King in Black, there was a Thunderbolts spin-off.
Yes.
With Kingpin as the mayor, and he put together his own Thunderbolts. What's happened to that team?
I think half that team are dead. But I think that was I think what happened with that group, or like during the King in Black, is Marvel tested the water for this story, as if to say, right, here are my Thunderbolts. How much popularity can they get? And I think that book did really well. We reviewed it a couple of times, and we spoke about how it was fun to read. So I think they're going along that lines. I'm pretty sure if you look at the first cover, the cover of issue 2, it's always Spider-Man. Every time, Spider-Man's the one that always gets absolutely mashed up in any of these series, he always gets smashed. I feel ever so sorry for Spider-Man. He always gets the raw end of the stick.
Oh, he will live to fight another day. Now, as the Optimus is saying, is there not a crossover event happening? It seems to be the run-of-the-mill what Marvel do at the moment. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's their go-to, isn't it? Every single thing they do is a crossover event.
And it's just a rehash.
Strange, Devil's Reign. Well, like I said, Devil's Reign, from what I could read and what I've looked at, is basically Civil War, but the Kingpin is S.H.I.E.L.D. in this instance.
So I mean, it's just a rehash, which is why I'm turning more and more to indies and solo publishers, because I think it's just they can do stuff. They're allowed to do stuff more than just rehashing old characters and old stories and old silhouettes of comics that you've put before it. So Devil's Reign, issue number 1. I'm sure I'll give it a read, but
yeah, I wouldn't let that put you off, though, that it's a rehash and it's a new thing, because Chip Zdarsky has got a wonderful way with changing people's opinions, and his writing style is incredible. He's done such good things with Daredevil. I have got high hopes for this as being one of the Marvel events that should have happened and should be. It should be better than King in Black. Fingers crossed. But then I had high hopes for that because Donny Cates is amazing, and that wasn't exactly what I wanted.
There we go. Look, events would be okay if they stuck to the core book and didn't have 100 tie-ins. Exactly.
Agreed. 100%.
For me, War of the Realms was still one of the best tie-ins, but then transcending from that, there was like 45 different tie-ins. So it was kind of like, I read the main. What I tend to do is read the main stories and don't even read the tie-ins.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, I want to read the main story. I want to know what's happening to the main group of characters. I don't want to know what's going on with Mrs. Miggins and her teacup over there. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to read a comic about Mrs. Miggins and how her teacups fell off the shelf during this massive fight going on in the background. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think this is going to be good. Chip Zdarsky is amazing. So
this comment has shot me. I'll be on this 100%.
It's because it's Chip.
Yeah,
100%.
It's not because it's a Marvel comic. It's because it's Chip Zdarsky.
Looking
forward. I'll say I'm looking forward to it. I don't think I am, but I'm going to read it anyway.
It'll be my pick next week.
This I'm looking forward to. This is what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. So finally, Joshua Williamson moves on from Robin and Detective Comics, and he's actually now on the main Batman title. He's taken over from James Tynion, and this is his first issue, going in with George Marner to do the artwork. And this, straight off the bat, he's introducing a brand new character called Abyss. Which the speculation is he's basically a alternative version to Batman, but like a bit. Basically, I think he is Batman, but the bad version, like as if Batman had gone completely bad. So basically, Azrael, if you like, but on steroids. So we'll see how that pans out for Batman in this book. If you haven't seen the design variant, it's going around, the limited edition have done for this. That is quality, and I would get on that if I were you.
It is a great cover, and I'm massive into my Batman. I'm loving this, and the fact is that Joshua Williamson, he's been doing the Robin as well.
Yeah, which is an amazing story.
Which is amazing. It's basically Robin in Battle Royale set up in the Lazarus Pit. It's on Lazarus Island. It's awesome. If you haven't read that, jump on to reading that. But Batman 118. As it says, a new chapter begins, and I think it's great. We've got 2 new artists and writers on there. I'm looking forward to it. Really, really.
New artist, new writer, brand new creative team, and they're throwing in a brand spanking new character on to top it all off.
There we go.
So, yeah, with them.
The Mrs. Miggins tie-in will be a killer key. 100%. You heard it here first. There we go. The Miss Miggins tie-in. And
Mrs. Miggins, Devil's Reign tie-in.
What is the first appearance of Mrs. Miggins?
Devil's Reign, Mrs. Miggins crossover.
The first appearance of Mrs. Miggins was on the Killer Comic Show, episode 47.
You know what? Thinking about it, why don't they do that? They should do that just once. They should write a book about what happens to the people who are cannon fodder in these books. Like when they're smashing down buildings and everything's happened. What's happening to Mrs. Miggins in flat number 25 when they've knocked out the building next door and it's smashed up? She's out the window shouting for her cat, or she's like, "Oh, the electric's not working," or she can't boil the kettle.
Guys, as you've now started something, now Tom's just totally gone off on one talking about Miss Miggins. He's clearly had a bad experience with Mrs. Miggins, and then obviously getting back to comics. Here we go. Look, it's like Andy has the Jock 1 in at 50 incentive. Yes, of course it is. Jock does no wrong, does he? He's fantastic, and I'm looking forward to. I am looking forward to reading this comic, but obviously DC bringing theirs out on Tuesdays, and then Marvel and every other publisher brings it out on the Wednesday as well. So we've got that one.
Yeah, so next up is the Buffy the Last Slayer, not issue 50, issue 1. I messed that up. Sorry, guys. Anyway, this is written by Casey Gilley, and the artwork is by Joe Jarrow, who are the creative team that are on Buffy at the moment. And they've done incredible things. This again is out on the 8th of December. This is a 4-part miniseries where they're exploring the end of the world, and Buffy is literally the only Slayer left, and pretty much the only people left on the planet. So it's exploring quite a dark area of Buffy's future, if you like. There are speculations that this is going to end with her going back to present day to say to Buffy, don't do these things. So we'll see how it ends. I quite like the idea of it. I mean, I really liked Buffy the Vampire Slayer when I was growing up, watching it on BBC Two after The Simpsons, which was always cool. Pretty much daily. But I've never read the book. I've never read the comic book because I found it was too similar to the TV series. So I've already watched it. I don't really want to read it as well. Which is why I'm not keen on books when they do like. So, like, for instance, when they do Star Wars Empire Strikes Back and you read it, but it's actually page for page, word for word, what you've just watched. I'm not keen on that because it's not really showing the writer or the artist their full value. But yeah, I think I'll probably read this one because I like the idea of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I don't know about anyone else in the chat, whether or not you like Buffy or if anyone's been reading Buffy. Let us know what you think.
As Phil said, this brings me back to Buffy. Triple G, can't wait for Buffy. Perpetual, is that Buffy or Erica Slaughter?
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
That is the thing. All crossover and a 50-year-old Buffy. Ooh, 50-year-old Buffy. I love the original Buffy film. Love it.
Mate. That's not Sarah Shop, is it?
No, with Donald Sutherland in it. Absolutely great film. Love that film. Oh, I don't really read Buffy the Vampire Slayers, but this one...
I don't know anyone who does.
No. Says a lot.
It does, unfortunately. So finally, my last pick for the Killer Keys is Lady Mckenna. Fuck off. Sorry.
Lady Mechanica.
Thank you very much, mate. Cheers. So this is written by Joe Benitez, and the artwork is by Sotelio. I read the free comic book day version of this, and it was amazing. I like steampunk. I think it's great. This is a 4-part miniseries coming from Image, and this is all about her origins. So I think she had a book a couple of years back or a few years back where they did it like her story, like her like as a character, as a hero. This is her origin story and how she got to that point. So it's going to be quite an interesting one to pick up. I actually think this is going to be quite a big speculative book because there are talks already about this being a TV series or some kind of movie in the future.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, it is worth picking up for that if you're a specker. If not, I do think it's going to be a really good story worth reading. Maybe worth getting as a trade rather than getting each individual individual issues. It's only 4. But yeah, check out your local comic book shop and see what they've got, see what they recommend. I would recommend getting the trade personally.
See, I really loved the free comic book day version of Lady Mechanica.
Lady Mechanica, yeah.
Yeah, I really loved it and really got into it. So I'm thinking like the cover artwork on this is amazing. Like, it's don't get me wrong, it's an intricate story, a very intricate story, and like the dialogue and the art is fine artwork and stuff, but it's really enjoyable. If you kind of like all like time traveling and like the intricates of how things work, like you can see from the front cover, you can see where I'm going with it, but it is really good.
I don't know if it's in the free comic book day version or the original version or like the first time they did this round, but she takes a clock to pieces. And the artwork on how she takes the clock to pieces and puts it all back together and all the mechanics of how the clock works while she's talking to you and she's putting it back together. It's so engaging as a reader. It completely makes you think that you're there. You're actually, you are her hands as she's putting that clock back together. Very clever. Very clever.
I definitely think I'll be picking this up because I've kind of got into the psyche of how Lady Mechanical works. I'm looking forward to this.
Nice.
But yeah,
There
and
you go then.
Here we have. Look, we've got your own little own QR code that you can kind of give a little scan to, and that will take you to the. Where does it take you to, Tom?
I believe this one either takes you to the website or my Instagram. If it takes you to the website, don't forget we've got a 50% off sale. If it takes you to my Instagram page, you will notice that I've got some new.
Oh shit! Sorry, mate.
I've noticed I've got some new branding, and I've gone a bit wild, and I'm trying to go back to the idea of doing a bit more reviews and showing you guys my collection and what I'm interested in on the Instagram rather than pushing the shop. So yeah, please check me out on Instagram, guys.
And yeah, it is. I'm just taken away by your Christmas decorations. I think when is the correct time to overload with Christmas decorations on every single slab?
Well, I'm going with what my our cousins over in America would do, and basically after Thanksgiving you're allowed to go Christmas mad. So I mean, Thanksgiving was last week, just say.
There we go. So there we have it. That's the Killer Keys, and you kind of got a preview of what I was going to do anyway, so we might as well just go over to it.
Do you know what, mate? It's the wrong one because you've missed it. It's Andy's fault.
But you know why I didn't want to do that? Because Andy's not on the show.
Oh, good
and
truth.
And it can't be Andy's fault because he's not on the show.
That's true.
If it was Andy's fault, then it'd be Andy doing the slides. But it's
Andy's fault.
It'd be Andy's fault but because he's not on the show, it's going to be my fault if I get anything wrong or if no one likes his comics. So I'm taking the full brunt of it. But there we go. This is the Killer Indies for December 8th. Obviously, give him a follow over on Instagram.com/perpetual.comics and Twitter.com/perpetualcomics. Missing him loads, as you can tell. Me and Tom kind of, we're without our right arm, as it were. So, but yeah, we have crossover issue number 10. This is obviously written by Donny Cates, art by Jeff Shaw. This is available on December the 8th from all your LCSs and online stores as well. What can we say about crossover? I'm really, really loving it. Obviously, this was a massive, massive event that started way back in, what was it, last year sometime? Last year, it was massive. There were so many things said about it, and it just continues to get better and better in my eyes. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
I'll be honest, I've not read it since Chip Zdarsky issue, which I think is issue 7. I've not managed to jump back on it. I have got it, and I'm waiting to read it, but I've got time off at Christmas, so I'm actually going to binge read all my books. But yeah, I love crossover. I think it's great. I think it's really clever. I liked the individual issue with Chip. I think that was one of my favorites. Yeah, I'd like to see when it's going to go.
I think it's definitely picking up, and obviously we've got the this sword was also from Donny Cates's. What was the other name of the comic he did? He done another time in the comic where this sword plays. I think it is
something gods, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
it
gods.
Is.
Some gods.
It's from another comic where this sword plays a massive part in it. But yeah, crossover issue number 10. It's been on a hiatus for a couple of weeks. Am I correct? I think it's been out for about God Country. There we go. Leon Russell, thank you very much. Yes, it is God Country. Yeah. But yes, this has been on a hiatus for about 4 or 5 weeks now. So obviously we are back with issue number 10. Looking forward to reading that. Next up, we have Stillwater issue number 12. Again, Chip Zdarsky, Ramon Perez, available in shops next week. This can do no wrong. This is one of the most consistently great stories that has ever graced the Killer Comic Show.
I couldn't disagree with that.
This was, and it still is, a gripping story where you can't, at the end of every single issue, you still can't see how they're going to progress and where it's going to go next.
Yeah, it does keep going from strength to strength.
It really, really does.
Yes, it reminds me very much of like old school Walking Dead, where you just have no idea what's going to happen next. It's not predictable in any way.
And I absolutely love that because I think this is a comic that Andy picked, and Andy, this is a comic Andy picked, and we wouldn't have read it. I wouldn't have read it if he had never picked it. So I've got to give him a shout out to that. But yeah, that's issue number 12 coming out. Then we have this was due out last week, but speaking to Jeremy, this has now been postponed for 3 weeks, so it is out next week. It's by the one and only Jeremy Holt, George Shaw, and this is Made in Korea, issue number 6. It is the last and final Made in Korea comic.
So good.
And it is, and as a surprise to everyone in the chat and to everyone else, Jeremy is going to speak to George, and they both are going to appear on the show at some point to go over the whole run, the whole 6 issues. We're going to spend some time with both of them. Us three will sit down and we'll talk to them about the comic and where Made in Korea goes from here. But also, we did mention this a couple of weeks ago, and Jeremy has confirmed it, that when the trade paperback does come out, he will sign a copy. George will sign a copy. He will send it to one of us three, and we will do it as a giveaway to a person in the chat. That's what we'll do.
Happy days, mate.
Happy days. But yes, Image Comics, Made in Korea, issue number 6. This for me is amazing. This can't do any wrong. And again, it's just consistently great. Issue number 5 was very, very hard hitting for numerous reasons, and it was very close to Jeremy's heart as well. So if you haven't read that yet, make sure you do, because the trade paperback is going to be incredible. And this issue number 6 is out next week. And as Triple G just said, it is awesome. Yes, it is. Up next, we have Daisy, issue number 1. Now, this is written by Colin Lorimer and art by Joanna Lafuente. This comes out.
She Transformers.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She did. She didn't do a Hemlock or whatever his name was, did she?
Grimlock.
No, it's Grimlock. That's the one. Grimlock, Hemlock.
Yeah, she did the More Than Meets the Eye run with Jack Lawrence.
Okay. That was a good run, and then you chose Grimlock. But yes, this is Daisy number 1. This is from Dark Horse comic, and this tells the story of I think it's a desperate mother. She's searching for a missing daughter or son or something, and it leads her to a small town. Let me just see if I can get out the premise so I can just do this. I'll do what Andy does. Right, there we go. A desperate mother's 5-year search for her missing son leads her to a small town of Brimount and to the mysterious Phillips family. Daisy Phillips, like many teenagers, has a hard time fitting in, but not for the usual reasons. Daisy stands 8.5 feet tall and is still growing, but her troubles with ill health, daily ridicule, and custom-made clothing are only the tip of the iceberg. Daisy may well be descended from a race of cannibalistic giants spawned from the outcasts of heaven. I did not see that coming. Now, when I started reading about an 8-foot woman who's lost her son, I was like, oh my God, what has Andy done? But the fact that it started talking about cannibalistic, I'm really looking forward to this now.
Why are all the indies that Andy picked horror based?
Why not? I thought this looks great. I'm well up for this.
It sounds horror based, is what I meant.
It does, but it's an 8-foot woman that's lost her son, and she's descended from cannibals. And as Andy said, Charlie, do the accent. What accent are we talking about? It's Andy's fault. And Andy from Perpetual. Oh, there we go. That's it. There's the accent. But yeah, Andy has said this will be a belter. Trust me. And let's be honest, he really rarely gets it wrong, does he? So we'll go with this one. And then last but not least, we have Crimson Cage. Now, I'm going to read it again because I don't really know much about this, but this is Crimson Cage. It's by John Lees and Alex Cormack, who did the fantastic artwork for, what was it called? Sea of Sorrows. There we go. Sea of Sorrows. That was the one. That was awesome. Love that. So this tells the story, double trouble, toil and rubble. Brace yourselves for a no-holds-barred reimagination of William Shakespeare's Macbeth from the critically acclaimed creators of Sync, New Orleans, 1984. This looks horrendous, if I'm being honest. Is there kind of like wrestling themed stuff going on with this, because it kind of comes across like that, don't you think?
It does, mate. It does look like some kind of wrestling. The fact that it does look like the way it says Crimson Cage looks like WrestleMania back in the day.
And as Andy's just said, it says John Lee's done Sync and Hotel 2, which Hotel is getting a lot of press at the moment. Hotel Volume 2, issue number 1 is getting a lot of press. But yes, this is Crimson Cage, issue number 1, written by John Lee's, art by Alex Cormack. This is from AWA Upshot. This again, I think this could be a belter, because Andy's picked it, but I will be reading it because I'm sure he will pick it as one of his reads of the week. The Comic Room, Daisy sounds like my kind of woman. Aren't we all looking for an 8-foot giant that can just cuddle us and make us feel wanted while chewing our arm off because she's a cannibal?
Clearly nobody's met Comic Deal. He's about 8.
Why not? Loving John Lee's stuff. Hotel was amazing. Has he been on the show? No, he hasn't been on the show. And John Lee's, if you're watching, hit us up. We'd love to get you on. But yeah, going back to that Comic Deal, 8 foot 5 years, absolute giant of a man, but one of the kindest men I know.
He does a good cuddle.
He does do a good cuddle. He does do a good cuddle. And there we have it. He's not even on the show, but we will show his QR code, and that will take you straight to his Instagram, where he is forever showing us his load of hauls and other goodies that he likes to show off now and again. And he will be back on the show next week. So there we go. I think we met Daisy at Thought Bubble. Yes, we do. And I think she does go by the name AKA James from Comic Deal. But that is it. That is the indie picks this week. Up next, we have the killer trades. Now, obviously, this is a section put together or proposed to us by Comics vs. the World, and thank you for doing that, because it really does open our eyes to all the trade paperbacks coming out. Now, these are coming out next week, December 7th, and up first we have Swamp Thing. Now, obviously, the Swamp Thing volume number 1 Becoming trade paperback is 152 pages. It comes in at $16.99. It's written by the fantastic and friend of the show, Ram V, with the art by Mike Perkins. Now, Swamp Thing for me by Ram V has been quality. It's been really, really enjoyable. It's Ram V showing what he can do with horror. It's been incredible. Tom, what have you thought about it? Did you read any of it?
Read it, mate. I'm not a Swamp Thing fan. I'm not massive on horror things. So yeah, no, I have not read it, unfortunately.
Oh, okay, but I think I read the first 4 issues, and this obviously ties in from Future State, Swamp Thing issue 1 to 2, and Swamp Thing issue number 4. So make sure you do pick that up. Up next, we have MOM, Mother of Madness. This is a hardcover.
I don't know how this is out, because issue 3 hasn't dropped out yet.
This comes out December 7th.
I know. That's what I mean. I don't understand how it's out, or they can say it's out, because issue 3 hasn't hit the stands.
Yeah. And I don't understand when they do stuff like that. I can't work it out. Do you see what I mean? It's like, how can you send out the trade paperback before the issue's even dropped?
Yeah. No, issue 3 still hasn't dropped out yet.
It's a bit shocking, isn't it? And this got so much press, and obviously this is the Mother of Madness hardcover, 127 pages, $24.99, written by Marguerite Bennett and Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones, and the art by Layla Louise. Yeah, it kind of sums it up as Deadpool action with Fleabag comedy.
It's a good story. I mean, I wasn't massively blown away by issue 1, but I think it's quite a good story. It's it definitely is worth picking up for a thought-provoking book. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely, and I think you can tell it's very female-led, and it is interesting. So if you haven't read it, give it a read. It's quite an interesting read. The artwork and the narrative are different to what you'd expect from a normal comic, but yes, give it a read. It is interesting. Then we have the Immortal Hulk. Obviously, we were speaking about the Hulk earlier. This is the Immortal Hulk volume number 10 of Hell and Death trade paperback, 168 pages, $19.99 from Al Ewing and Joe Bennett. There's not much to say about this, apart from the fact that it ties in from issue 46 to the end of issue number 50. Did you read any of this, Tom? You didn't read any of it? No.
I read the first 5 issues, and I really enjoyed it. It's just there was other stuff I wanted to read. I'm only limited to so much stuff in my brain at the moment.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? I think it's as I said earlier, with 50 issues, that's a lot to get your head round. It's a lot to sit down. And the thing is, if you jump on it halfway through, you think, oh, I'm hearing about everything. I've now got to go back and start from issue number 1 and work my way up. That's what I did. I literally did that, and I'm glad I did, but I didn't read it consistently because there was better things for me to be interested in that kind of tipped in my favour that I wanted to read. But going back to MOM, the Comic Rumor said a 3-issue trade does seem a bit tight. It does, doesn't it? I mean, especially being a hardcover and £25.
Definitely, considering the fact that this is 4 issues in a book, and it's cheaper.
It's 4 issues in a book, and I think it's because in the trade paperback, in the hardcover of MOM, I think each issue was around 45 pages.
They were long.
I mean, I remember them being a thick book. So
I don't know about issue 3.
That's ridiculous. I can't believe they've done that. Immortal Hulk was one of my favourite series. The collected bigger omnibus volumes are great value. There we go. So if you haven't read that and you want to jump into it, omnibus could be the way forward for something as big as this. Then we have Tom, I knew you'd like this one. We've got Mighty Morphine, volume number 3, trade paperback, 158 pages, $16.99, written by Ryan Parrott, art by Dan Mora and Marco Renner. Tom, do you want to talk us through this? Because I know we absolutely love this.
Oh yeah, mate. I mean, if you're not reading Mighty Morphine and Power Rangers, then you definitely should be. Ryan Parrott is an incredible writer, and he's taken one of our fan favorite kind of nostalgic 80s themes and is just ran with it. It is amazing. Some of the stuff that comes out in this kind of volume, so between issues 9 and 12, what you find out about Zordon and Emperor Zed is absolutely mind-blowing. So it is worth getting it. If you like Mighty Morphin, I would definitely jump on it. And it's not too late to read 12 issues quite easily. I would do it if I was you, 100%.
Do you know what I like about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is the way that they've done it? Mighty Morphin comes out one week, Power Rangers comes out the next week. So you're constantly knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
And even if you jump on from issue number 1 to 12, the story flows so flawlessly that you can sometimes I'm like this. I'll read a trade paperback and before I know it, I'm 168 pages in or whatever. But if I'm reading individual comics, I'll stop after one issue and think, I'll read the next one in a couple of days or something. With this, I don't find myself doing it. I think, right, I need to finish another issue. I need to go into another issue. And I think that's what a lot of people do with the trade paperbacks. They just keep going because they're just constantly flicking the pages. Where when you do close a comic book and put it down, you might get up and make a cup of tea and think, I'll go back to that. And you might not. With a trade paperback, you just keep going because you're in the momentum.
I always go off a comic book. I think you're right. So basically, with a trade paperback, you can start from, because it's so, you've got all those pages there, you're quite happy to pick them up, read the whole thing. Whereas I find like it shows massively how decent a comic book is if you read those kind of 28, 30 pages, put it down, walk away, and you're still thinking about it and you want to read the next issue. That to me is a good comic book. If you've read it, like Kate Bishop, you read that one book and gone, I can't even remember what happened in that. It's not worth reading the next issue. Do you know what I mean? That's what I like about comic books. And that's why trades are so good. It's like it gives you a chance to, if you haven't read issue 1, but you're not that interested in reading issue 1, you could read issue 1 to 4 quite quickly in a very short period of time. And then you're more interested in that story. I love trade.
And it's what Connie said, that's such a cool cover for Mighty Morphin. I loved Power Rangers as a kid, but I haven't even ventured into the comics, but I probably will in the new year. Let me just say, it's definitely worth venturing into the comic because you see that guy on the front there, Zordon. You kind of find out, Zed. You kind of find out a lot more about him, and it will shock you because it shocked me and Tom. I just remember Tom contacting me and going, "Have you read Mighty Morphin?" I was like, "No, but I'm going to," and then I did, and I was like, "Wow, didn't see that coming." It's kind of a twist that I was never expecting, never.
Yeah, same, mate. I didn't see it coming. I didn't, but. Definitely to basically for Connie and Triple G, who've both said they're going to jump on this in the new year. You don't have to have read any of the previous volumes. The only thing you might want to read is the Shattered Glass saga, just so you know who Lord Dakan is for this particular series. Other than that, You don't really need to have read any of it. As long as you've seen the TV show, and you know who Lord Zed is and Zordon and the Power Rangers are, you'll be fine. You don't even have to read any of the lore or backstory. It's really self-explanatory and all this. It's so good. So good.
It is. It honestly really, really is. It really, really is. And then I think that's it. And it is. There is. We're here already. Hour and 40 in, and we're already at the Killer Comics show sneak peek. Now, this is the slides that we do to show what we're coming up next week. Now, I am going to go with King of Spies, issue number 1 by Mark Miller and Matteo Scalera. Andy mentioned this a couple of weeks ago in his indie picks, and I've been looking at the synopsis of it, and I can't wait to read it. Looking forward to it. So
yeah, I like the idea of this one. It's got some cool covers as well, which is wicked.
Mm-hmm. It really, really has. Then we've got, as we mentioned, Hotel Volume 2, issue number 1, which was Andy's pick. I'm looking for Andy's fault. It is Andy's fault. And then we've got this is. Hold on, I think I've messed up here.
Do you know what, mate? I actually don't know if I've made a pick this week, but I'll take Made in Korea.
Yeah, you can take Made in Korea issue number 6, because I think we're definitely going to be reviewing it. We'll definitely be looking into it. So I think why shouldn't we review it? It's going to be, and we're going to have them on the show anyway. So we've got King of Spies, we've got Hotel, and we have Made in Korea issue number 6. Awesome. Tom, we did it without Andy. I feel like a relief. I feel relieved. I feel like Daddy's not in the building, and we've done all right. We've done okay. But what I have got to check is the poll. Do you know what? It was close. It was really close. At one point, it was 40-40-20. So it's changed over the last couple of minutes. I think Andy's just logged on and made some more YouTube accounts. But we've got in third place. It brings a tear to my throat. It's Wonder Woman, the 2021 annual issue number 1 with 20%. In second place is Star Wars Crimson Reign issue number 1. And in first place, and that's it for the end of the night, guys. It's been a fantastic show. It's been great having you on. No, Andy, you won with your cover. And I think we can all say that is thanks to Tom, because he pointed out the Easter egg that appeared on the show. On the cover. It was a great cover. So, Andy has won it again. He is now topping the table with 5. Tom's in second place with 4. And I'm way down at the bottom with 1 win.
I'm pretty sure you've got 2, mate, because you won 1 last week, and I'm pretty sure you won 1 a few weeks ago, but Andy cut the show short.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. Well, that's it. If I have, then I'll take that. I've got 2. But honestly, it's been another great show. Love spending time with you, Thomas. Love spending time with the guys in the chat. Do you know what? I'm in a giving mood. I think I might just give away another T-shirt. I think I'm just I'm going to do. I'm going to do it a little bit different. Right? I'm just going to flick through the comments, and whatever random comment I land on. There we go. I'm just going to pick a random. I'm just flicking. There we go. And it's going to be, let's just see where it lands. There we go. I'm a sucker for these covers. Connie Dalton, you have won a Killer Comics t-shirt. If you can just drop me a message, or drop Tom or Andy a message on Instagram.
Connie recently bought from me, so I can send you Connie's address.
Okay, cool. So if you can send me Connie's address, Connie,
she's okay with that. Obviously, she's okay with that.
Yeah. You've won a Killer Comics t-shirt. Thanks for tuning in. That was random. Great show. Love you all. Love spending time with Thomas. It's Christmas mode. La 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 la. There we go. It's been a fantastic show. Thank you everyone for spending Thursday night with us, as you always do. And as always, enjoy the comics that you're reading. Enjoy your weekend. And Tom, what do we say?
Stay safe. Stay sexy.
See you later, guys.